July 31st, 1987, in a suburb of Richmond, Virginia, 8-year-old Joanna Chinnis disappeared. Joanna and the man at the lake that day are played by actors in this reenactment, but neighbors, rescue workers, and the Chinnis family have returned to help us tell her story.
I think from the beginning, it was like being in a bad dream. Everything seemed to be in slow motion.
It was a beautiful day, and Joanna Chinnis wanted to go fishing. She was new in the neighborhood, so she went by herself to the lake behind her house.
Joanna was not the type of child to not check in. She's always really good about checking in. I didn't have to worry about her whereabouts. So I knew by 3 o'clock that something, was possibly wrong, and was very, very worried.
When Joanna didn't return, the Chinnis family began searching the neighborhood for her. But what Cindy and Carl Chinnis didn't know was that there was a stranger around the lake that day. Around 8 p.m., they called the police and reported Joanna missing.
Chesterfield Emergency Services, Walpole.
I'd like to report my 8-year-old daughter is missing. Cindy and I kept looking at each other and not believing it.
The Chesterfield police arrived within 10 minutes and were quickly joined by search and rescue squads, concerned neighbors, and special search dogs.
And about 15 minutes later, special task force with the dogs had come to the house, and by that time I know there was at least 6 or 7 patrol cars out front.
Nearly 100 people began searching for Joanna, concentrating on the lake where she had gone fishing. Rescue workers feared she might have gotten hurt, fallen in the lake, and drowned.
They had brought in a dog that could sniff the top of the water for human scent. I knew she wasn't in the lake. I wouldn't accept it.
The police told Cindy and Carl to stay home and wait in case Joanna called.
I was scared.
We both sort of hugged each other and said, God, don't let anybody hurt Joanna.
That was a long night. It was a long night for everybody. We were very grateful as far as the response of all the neighbors in the community that came out and stayed out all night.
At 3 a.m., exhausted by 7 hours of searching the lake area, the rescue teams broke off their efforts for the night. No one had found any sign of Joanna beyond the street where her scent disappeared.
If you call it a premonition, I think that's what it was, of seeing Joanna just panicking in a car, in an automobile. So I took it that, I accepted the fact that she had been abducted, that somebody did take her.
Imagine that was hard. I told her, don't say any more. I couldn't stand it.
At 6:30 a.m., more than 200 people and dogs began to search again, this time over a much wider area. Joanna had been missing for more than 15 hours.
Okay, what I'm going to do now is just give y'all a general strategy of the areas we're covering and then break you down and show you the individual tasks. And we're going to have you pick your own field team from the groups of neighbors that are around. We have searcher information sheets being run up now, so we'll have pictures for you all to take with you on your task momentarily.
Emergency medical technician Gene Harris was in charge of one search team.
We continued to search throughout the morning. We had no luck at all, no clues. Nothing at all that indicated that a young child had passed through the area. And at that point, we were looking for an abduction victim. Brooks and her dog and Greg Peck went out to the Cornerstone Church area, and Beth and her dog and I went on a parallel grid to her in a lower swampy area.
It was beginning to get dark when Brooks' dog, Buster, picked up a scent.
Good girl.
I heard Brooks yelling over the radio, status 2, which to us means I've found a victim and I need medical assistance.
After 28 hours, Joanna was found lying in the woods less than 2 miles from home.
It was like being in a football stadium when somebody just made a touchdown, and it was a big roar, and it was just a complete, relief that she had been found, because the nightmare was over. It was finally over.
But it wasn't over. Joanna was barely conscious and bloody from 3 stab wounds in her chest and 1 in her neck. They rushed to get her medical attention.
Where do you got Chesterfield here?
Okay.
You got it?
Hold her just a second.
Okay, I got
Let's see what we got.
Let's go away. Let's get going. Let's go, Dave. We got 3 new chests.
At that point, she was holding on to my hand and just wouldn't let go. It was just squeezing as hard as she could.
Okay, you're gonna be all right now. You're inside an ambulance. It's all over with. Now just relax. Everything's okay.
For a while there, it was touch and go. We weren't really sure in the ambulance just exactly what the total extent of her injuries were.
When I saw her, she looked so frail. I was afraid that she was going to die. I can't explain the way she looked. I just grabbed her hand, and I told her I was so glad that we found her, that she was going to be all right. And she said, "Mom, don't cry."
She was very, very weak. And I remember it felt so good. Touched her hand. And that tiny hand, in my hand, it felt so good.
Joanna was able to give the police a detailed description of her attacker. The man had seemed nice. He took her in his car to go fishing someplace better, then strangled her and stabbed her 4 times, leaving her for dead. 2 days later, a man matching the description was arrested less than 10 miles away. He pleaded guilty to the abduction and attempted murder of Joanna Chinnis and was sentenced to 3 consecutive life terms in prison. A year and a half after the incident, Joanna is fully recovered from the wounds she suffered in the attack.
She was a very lucky girl. The only severe damage was to the lung that was collapsed. The arteries in the neck were missed, the arteries in the chest were missed, the heart was missed. She's just lucky to be alive.
Basically, I would say be careful and let your children know that talking just to anyone that they've never seen before is very, very dangerous.
Recently, Joanna met Buster, the dog who rescued her, for the first time since that day.
I think that the dog that saved me was a wonderful dog, and that he should be treated like, have a lot of treats or something. Buster.
We don't use the term lucky in Joanna's case because there's nothing near luck. It's more of a miracle.
I get a lot of kisses from dogs. You did.